Welcome back to the Brain Mission channel. I'm Brainy, and today we're going to be taking the grade 6 curriculum based test for language arts, and I'm going to see how well we would have done in 2024 if we had taken this curriculum based test. Now, there are 40 items and we have 90 minutes. I've already done the test, but I'm going to go through it with you to see how many I would have gotten, right? You can comment to say, you got something different, etc. Just let me know, all right? So let's jump in. No time to waste. Here's the first page here. It says for items 1 to 29, there are only one correct answer. Indicate your response by shading the letter next to the answer of your choice. An example is given below. So here it is. It says, what is meant by the phrase protect against? Defend. So C is shaded because it is the only correct answer. And from 1 to 29, that's how we're going to do it, all right? Okay, so we have a passage to read. Let's read. Louise Bennett-Coverly, affectionately known as Miss Lou, is recognized as a living legend and a natural icon. Her significant contribution to Jamaican culture has been reflected in the numerous awards she has received. She is celebrated as a Jamaican poet, performer, writer, educator, folklorist, and activist. The Honorable Louise Bennett-Coverly remains a prominent figure in local culture. Miss Lou is credited as being the chief pioneer of Jamaican dialect patois. Her use of Jamaican dialect to comment on topical issues with the good humor and creativity has inspired generations of Jamaicans. There are several recordings of her work, among them Anansi Stories, Listen to Louise, and Miss Lou Views. Miss Lou created the popular Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation television JBC-TV program for children Ring Ding, aired between 1970 and 1982. The program encouraged youngsters to sing, dance, and recite poetry. She was also a gifted stage performer and entertained many crowds in Jamaica and overseas. She appeared in her first Jamaican pantomime in 1943, playing opposite the late comedian and actor Randy Samuel Williams. The popular duo would go on to do many other performances together. Louise Bennett-Coverly received numerous awards in her lifetime, both in Jamaica and abroad. In the 1960s, she was made a member of the British Empire MBE for her work in Jamaican literature and theatre. The government of Jamaica honored her with the insignia of Order of Jamaica in 1974. She was also awarded the Norman Manley Award for Excellence in the Field of the Arts, the Institute of Jamaica's Gold Musgrave Medal, and the honorary degree of Doctor of Letters of the University of the West Indies in 1982. Louise Bennett-Coverly was born on September 7, 1919 on North Street in Kingston and died on July 26, 2006 in Canada at age 86. Even though she has passed, Miss Lou is still recognized as one of the country's cultural ambassadors and may one day become our second national heroine. Okay, alright, so let's jump in and see what the questions have for us. So number 1, which of the following would be an appropriate title for the passage? I chose Miss Lou Unsung Hero. Why? Because this passage started out by talking about recognizing Miss Lou as a legend, right? And then it ended with saying that Miss Lou can be looked at as maybe a future national heroine. So that's my reason for that. Number 2, which word below best replaces the word significant? I chose outstanding because if you check outstanding, if you remove significant and put outstanding, it would not have any effect on the sentence itself or the meaning of the sentence, right? Okay, the next one is number 3. Which part of speech is the underlined word in item 3 to 4? There are several recordings of her work, so in this case, it's showing an accumulation of a job. So definitely, I would say that it's a noun and not the action where she's carrying out the work at the time. So I chose noun for number 3. Number 4, Louise Bennett-Coverly received numerous awards in her lifetime, both in Jamaica and abroad. Received here is actually a verb. Alright, so I chose verb. Okay, let's move on. Alright, here's number 5. Which pronoun can be used to replace the underlined word in item 5? Miss Lou can be replaced by she, so I chose she. She is credited as being the chief pioneer of Jamaican dialect, patois. Okay, now we have something else to read, and it's a bulletin. Let's jump in, and it is dated March the 4th, 2020. Ministry of Education, bulletin to all primary and secondary public institutions. Be prepared. The coronavirus, otherwise known as COVID-19, is highly contagious. The Ministry of Education is urging students and staff members to practice the following. Measures to prevent transmission. 1. Avoid close contact with persons who are sneezing and coughing frequently, as the virus spreads through mucus and saliva. 2. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. 3. Avoid touching your face frequently. 4. You can offer someone a mask who is coughing or sneezing. And 5. Avoid crowded areas. Okay, so that's the bulletin. Let's jump to the questions. So the questions are here. Which option best describes what the bulletin is about? It's not about just flu. It's not about effects of overcrowding. It's not the effects of coronavirus on individuals. It's ways to prevent the spread of coronavirus. So I chose C. Number 7. Coronavirus can be described as a disease that is transmissible through food. No. Transmissible through water. No. Transmissible through communication with someone. That is possible, but it is more of a respiratory droplets that if the person is talking closely to you and cough in your face, then is where you can actually where you can catch the disease. All right, so I chose T. All right, number 8. Which word below best explains the meaning of contagious? Easily contracted is definitely right, because corona is not irreversible. Yes, it's deadly, right, but it's when it says something is contagious, it's easily contracted. All right, number 9. Based on the information given in the bulletin, what are the most important things someone should do to prevent them from catching the coronavirus? I chose avoid crowded areas, or avoid crowds, and practice good hygiene. All right, cool. All right, yeah, wear a mask at home, avoid touching your face. I wouldn't wear a mask at home unless there's someone else. But I say this is the best answer. Not sure what you would choose. Okay, let's move on. All right, let's see. Number 10. Which audience is the bulletin intended for? I'll say the students and staff of the government schools. Why? Because it says bulletin to all primary and secondary public institutions. So that's why I chose the students and staff of government schools. All right, let's move to another topic to read. What does it say here? Read the sentences below and then use the information given to answer question 11 to 15. So you have by 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed from Spain and months after arrived in the West Indies. 2. Who was convinced that he could find the sea route to East Indies? Christopher Columbus was a sailor and a native of Genoa, Italy. 4. The King and Queen of Spain eventually decided to sponsor his voyage as they wanted Spain to be the first country to gain access to the trade in perfumes, silk, and spices if the sea route to the East Indies was found. They found Christopher Columbus' proposal appealing because the land route to the Far East was very dangerous for the Europeans. 6. He therefore made a proposal to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain to sponsor his voyage to the East Indies. This is jumbled, guys. It doesn't make any sense. I chose the right one, which I am sure is correct. So the first one should be 3, which is Christopher Columbus was a sailor and a native of Genoa, Italy. This is introducing the character, so I know that is correct. Number 2 is also a part of introducing who is. It's kind of tell you who is he and what he aspired to be, which is he's convinced that he could find the sea route to the East Indies, right? So I say C. Then 6 would be after that. He therefore made a proposal to King Ferdinand, right, and Isabella of Spain, and Queen Isabella of Spain to sponsor his voyage to the East Indies, right? And then after that, you'll have 5, which is they found Christopher Columbus' proposal appealing because the land route to the Far East was very dangerous for the Europeans. And then after that, you would have 4, which is the King and Queen of Spain eventually decided to sponsor his voyage as they wanted Spain to be the first country to gain access to the trade in perfumes, silk, and spices if the sea route to the East Indies was found. And then finally, number 1, which is by 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed from Spain and months after arrived in the West Indies. Okay, so that's why I chose C. Let's move on to page 6 and question number 12. Which sentence would indicate that Christopher Columbus arrived in his intended destination? I chose 1. The reason I chose 1 because this made it look like he was trying to get to the West Indies, right? But we all know that he was trying to go to the East Indies. But the question again would be, which sentence would indicate that Christopher Columbus arrived in his intended, and that would be 1. All right, 13. Which statement is true? And I chose Christopher Columbus traveled on a voyage on behalf of Spain. A is not true. Christopher Columbus traveled on a voyage on behalf of Italy. That's not true. Christopher Columbus traveled on his first voyage to find treasure in the West Indies. That's not true. Christopher Columbus sponsored his sea travel. Those are all fake. All right, so which sentence best describes the region in which Spain and Italy are located? I think the sentence 5 would do so, because if you check sentence 5, let's find that it says they found Christopher Columbus' proposal appealing because the land route to the Far East was very dangerous for the Europeans. So they're talking about the danger and he's willing to go and risk it. So definitely he must be an European himself. All right, so I chose 5, right? All right, which 2 sentences reveal how Christopher Columbus' voyage was funded? I said 4 and 6 because his voyage was funded by these 2, 4 and 6. The King and Queen of Spain eventually decided to sponsor his voyage, and he therefore made a proposal to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain to sponsor. So these are the 2, 4 and 6. So I chose D. Okay, let's move on to number 16, and we have another passage to read. This time it is a love poem. Wow. Okay, let's jump into this one. It says, The Meaning of Love by Z. Baxter. Not mere words spoken with intent to flatter. Not a noun, but a verb that really does matter. It is not evidenced by boastfulness nor pride. It is a natural feeling that one should never hide. With growth as gentle and constant as the sunset, it is the warmest of feeling one can ever get. An emotion that causes you to exercise patience. Being mean to the one you love will have you engage in constant battle with your conscience. Wow, that's nice. All right, so let's move into the questions. Which figure of speech is used in line 5? So line 5 with growth and gentle as constant as the sunset. I chose simile, and this one is tricky because it could have been a metaphor, but when I saw like as and like, I know that it's a simile. All right, so which of number 17, which of the following words could not be used to replace the word flatter in line 1? Now, when you flatter someone, you praise, you compliment, you charm, you don't ridicule them. So I definitely know that this is ridicule. All right, so let's move to question 18. So read the passage below, then answer items 18 to 22. Donald O'Reilly Quarrie, a Jamaican sprinter, was born February 25, 1951. He is regarded as one of the finest sprinters in the history of track and field, and the greatest runner around the bend. Donald is a world-class athlete who is not only respected for his athletic ability but also his discipline and demeanor on and off the field. Quarrie competed in 5 Olympic Games. This is an exceptional accomplishment for a sprinter. The high point of his career came in the 1976 Olympics in Montreal. Don captured the gold in the 200 meter and the silver in the 100 meter. His silver finish was just 0.01 seconds behind the winner. While training for the 1980 Moscow Olympics, Donald met in a car accident, but he was able to recover and make the team and ended up with the bronze medal in the 200 meter. The Commonwealth Games is where Quarrie had some of his best performances. He became the first male athlete to earn 6 gold medals in these competitions. For 3 consecutive games, Donald won the gold medal in the 100 meter. He won the 200 meter in the 1970 Games and successfully defended his title in the 1974 Games. Don was well on his way to winning a 3rd gold in the 200 meter, but he suffered cramps in his semi-final heat and was not able to advance to the final round. Donald's outstanding career would not be complete without being a world record holder. In 1971, Don broke the world record in the 200 meter. He ran a blistering 19.80 seconds at the Pan American Games in Cali, Colombia in 1976. He tied the world record for the 100 meter with a time of 9.9. With all his accomplishments, Don always maintained a good-natured attitude and was admired and respected by his peers. That's the great Donald Quarrie. Yep. All right, let's jump in. Let's go to page 9 and look at the questions we have starting from 19. Which statement suggests that Donald Quarrie was a resilient sprinter? I would say the time when he met in the car accident and then he still went and got a bronze in the 200 meter. That shows resilience, right? So I chose D. Number 20. Which paragraph does the mood of the passage change? I chose 4 because it was talking about Donald Quarrie and his achievement, but then it says here in paragraph 4 that his career would not be complete without being a world record. So it's now showing that he actually won or had a world record or was a world record holder. So this is where it changed for me. So I chose D for 4. 21. Which sentence is true about Donald Quarrie? I chose he was a world record holder. All the others are false. He won all the races he competed. That's not true. He ran only the 200 meters. That's not true. He was a good athlete but had a terrible attitude. That's definitely not true. So B is the answer. Right, let's move to page 10 and I think we have question 22. Which option best describes the overall mood of the passage? I say celebratory because we're celebrating Donald Quarrie, right? It's not a regret, yet it's happy as well. Melancholy, no, definitely not sad. So it's definitely celebratory for me. I chose that. Let's move to another thing here. We have to read. It says read it. It's an ad below, then answer 23 to 27. So this ad is saying store assistant needed. Graham's Boutique. We're seeking a store assistant for our clothes boutique on Trident Road, Craigtown. 20 hours a week, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Must be between the ages 18 to 25 and have at least 2 years work experience. Okay, it says monthly salary is $16,000. Okay, All right, which statement below is factual based on the advertisement? I chose you need experience for the job. The pay will not be 1,600, it's 16,000, which is monthly. The job is in the USA. It didn't say that. It actually stated that it's in Craigtown, right, which is in Jamaica, right? So all of that would be false. The only thing is correct here is B. Let's move to 22. So 22, which option best describes the overall mood of the passage? Oh, I just did that. I'm sorry. I should be moving on to, I think, 24. So who is Graham likely to be? So if the boutique name is Graham's Boutique, I would say Graham should be a boutique owner. So I chose A, right? How much money will the new assistant make in 1 week? Now this is kind of almost a trick, operative word almost. So remember that it said that it's $16,000 a month. So if you want to know how much it is per week, all you need to do is to divide the 16,000 by 4, right? And you'll get 4,000. 4, 4, 16. So to the 4,000, I chose D. Which of the following best explains who is the assistant? I chose a person who helps in a particular work. So that's it. I'm not going to choose an ally, a boss. It definitely is A. All right. So which item below will not be sold at Graham's Boutique? A boutique sells clothing, right? Shoes, sneakers are part of clothing, right? Or apparel. So pants, stocking and all of that is a part of apparel. So I definitely chose thread. I don't think they'll be selling like thread people. So I selected D. Okay, let's move to question 28 to 31. So it says use the table of contents below to answer item 28 to 31. So if a reader wants to find out about how to make a flower pot from clay, which page would they not be able to find this information? So want to make a flower pot. So 43, definitely it's talking about flower pot sculptures, so that wouldn't be it. 37, as you can see, it's about clay and that's flower pot. 48, ceramics is made from clay, so definitely it would be the same thing. So I chose 50 because 50 is moving on to paper crafts. So that's my answer. Let's move on. We're now moving on to 29. Which chapter has the least number of pages? I chose that. Let me go back. I chose chapter 4 because I think it had about 6. When I checked, how did I get the answer? Which chapter have the least pages? So the chapter starts here, 23. From 23 to 35, how many, right? And then I was check from 12 to 20 to see how many pages, like 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, that's 8. From 23 to 35, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 30, 35, that's 11. So I chose it's chapter 4 because from 56 to 63 is about 6. 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63. I think that's about 7. So I chose chapter 4. Oops, sorry. I chose chapter 4. So number 30, a person wants to go straight to the page that will provide specific information about different types of pillows. Where would this information be found? I chose chapter 2 because that's where it is. Chapter 2 about pillows, chapter 2. So sewing, pillows, right here. All right. 31, circle the subject that is covered by exactly 6 pages. I chose sewing because it's for 6 pages. So sewing from 23 to 29 is sewing. If you count 23, then it's a 24, 25, 26, 27, from 23 to 29. I'm sorry, let's do that again. It's 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So that would be 6. Okay. So that is the answer for that one. So hopefully you're getting them all right as well. Let's move to the next one, or the next page. And this one we have 2 sources to read. Man, there's a lot of reading. Luckily I read them already, but I'm going to read them again. So we have neither summer nor winter, neither autumn nor spring. We have instead the days when the gold sun shines on the lush green cane fields magnificently. The days when the rain beats like bullets on the roofs, and there is no sound but the swish of water in the gullies. Earth's axis is an imaginary pole, and trees struggling in the high Jamaica winds. Also, there are the days when leaves fade from off guango trees, and the reaped cane fields lie bare and fallow to the sun. But best of all, there are the days when the mango and the logwood blossom, when the bushes are full of the sound of bees and the scent of honey, when the tall grass sways and shivers to the slightest breath of air, when the buttercups have paved the earth and with yellow stars, and beauty comes suddenly and the rains have gone. That's source 1. Source 2. Many people believe the earth is closer to the sun in the summer, and that is why it is hotter. They also think that the earth is farthest from the sun in the winter. It is true that the earth's orbit is not a perfect circle. It is lopsided. During part of the year, Earth is closer to the sun than at other times. Therefore, there is, however, a different reason for Earth's seasons. Going right to the center of the Earth spins around this pole, making one complete turn each day. That is why we have day and night. Earth has seasons because it is tilted and the axis does not stand up straight. As Earth orbits the sun, its tilted axis always point in the same direction. As a result of this, different parts of the Earth gets the sun's direct rays throughout the year. Okay, and that's by H.D. Cardberry. Let's move on. So let's jump in. It says, read each statement carefully and indicate by shading whether each statement is supported by source 1, source 2, both sources, or neither sources supports. So statement, all regions in the world experience different weather conditions linked to seasons. And this is source 2 supports this, right? So I choose source 2 because I didn't see that in source 1 any at all. 33, Earth's axis is always tilted towards the sun, definitely. So I chose supported by, supported 2, or source 2 supports again, I'm sorry. 34, it rains often in Jamaica. I chose supported by 1. Why? Because it, by reading this, I get that it rains a lot here. All right. Number 35, the Earth rotating around the sun is central to seasonal changes. I definitely selected support by 2. And then finally 36, countries in the West Indies do not have extreme weather changes. I chose neither support because none of that is happening in both two. It's showing that there's always a change, and it has nothing to do with the West Indies either. It did talk about Jamaica though. All right, let's move to the next one. This is 37 to 40. So read the passage below carefully, then use it to answer items 37 to 40. The graduation ceremony. It was Sophia's graduation day. She felt jitters as she rode in her mom's car for the ceremony. Her years in the primary level have come to an end. She knows she will not miss the endless extra classes and the tensions quite often felt with each upcoming test. Sophia peered in the rearview mirror to get another peek at her well-groomed hair neatly pinned in a bun. Her knob earrings glistened against her beautiful satin white dress. In a flash, Sophia suddenly felt her stomach tighten and her knees shaking. She peered across her mom, who was driving at a steady pace and humming one of her favorite hymns. Her face was beaming with pride. Her mother was a widow. She raised her 3 children all on her own when her husband died 5 years ago. Sophia was the eldest of 3 siblings. It was not long before Sophia started to feel the paper on which she had carefully written her valedictorian speech getting soft from the profuse sweating of her hands as she held the leaf tightly. It seemed like suddenly 1 million thoughts ran through Sophia's mind as she wandered about, walking to the podium and talking in front of the peering eyes of those in the auditorium. She turned to her mom and told her she cannot do this. Her mom turned at her with a smile and said, "You are never alone. Did you know that God strengthens you?" So definitely that's inspiring. I like this one. All right, so let's look at the questions. It says, read each statement carefully, then indicate by shading whether each statement is supported by paragraph 1, paragraph 2, both paragraphs, or neither paragraphs. All right, so statement 1, it says Sophia was fearful because she did not want to graduate. Nothing like that is said in any paragraph, any at all. So I just chose D. All right, let's move to the next one. All right. Right, it says here, it says Sophia's mother was proud of her. Both paragraphs supported that because I'm seeing here where it says humming her favorite hymns and her face was beaming with pride. Right here, her mother was a widow and she raised. So both paragraphs would have supported that. So I chose it, right? Sophia was feeling nervous. Both paragraphs supported that. Why I said that? Because it was twice she said it. She said it up here, her knees shaking. She peered across. Her mom was driving steady pace. Down here, she said to her mom she cannot do this. She was nervous. But her mom said, God strengthen you, right? So definitely both would have supported that. So last one, Sophia's mother was disappointed that her husband could not be at their daughter's graduation. While that is something that is possible, I'm not seeing it in the paragraph. I know that, the dad passed away, unfortunately, but I'm not seeing where the mom is saying that she's disappointed he's not here. But maybe she's thinking that, but it's not supported in the paragraph. So I chose D, neither paragraph support. Where do I go from here? Oh, I didn't do these or what? Or this is the same thing here. 37. I think there's a repeat here. Yeah, I think this is a repeat. I think I have it twice. But that's it. I think that's it. I think we have come to the end of another CBT. How did I do? I think I got 40 out of 40. I think I got 100%. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section how I did parents. I wonder if any parent out there can actually do better than I am doing now. I want to thank you very much again. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with anybody who wants to, know about the CBTs or the PEP. I am Brainy. Have a good one.